All right, great. I'm sorry, I'm trying to spotlight these two guys here. Um, okay, great. And okay, hold on. Sorry. So Sean and Walter, how you guys doing?
Doing great.
Yeah.
Very excited about tonight. I'm really looking forward to this conversation, this dialogue. The one thing that I wanted to say is that I want everyone to be aware that this isn't a safe space. This is a brave space.
Mm,
We're going to talk about a lot of truths, and a lot of your truth may affect a lot of you, but our intention is not to offend, but it is to spotlight the truth and a lot of things that you may personally be dealing with. We want to ensure that you understand that this is something that needs to be said, and we're happy that we've been chosen or allowed to be here to have this conversation with you. So very excited.
Absolutely.
all right. Thanks for that. Now, do you guys have any disclaimers for us? Any distinctive disclaimers? Anything y'all wanna? Any caveats that you guys wanna put out there? Because I know y'all looking kind of shy and kind of timid right now, but once you guys get into it and warm up a little bit, it's gonna get real, right? So, any caveats, any warnings? Not warnings per se, but disclaimers that y'all wanna share.
I know no one came here with the expectation that we're gonna solve your relationship problems, we're gonna fix your marriage, we're going to even help you like get men. So that's not what's gonna happen here tonight. Not even a little bit. We're gonna share based on our experiences, based on what we believe to be true. And the hope is that what we do share can help you. So that's my disclaimer.
That's your
I,
disclaimer.
I,
Mhm.
I would also like to add that when you first saw the flyer, you said, "Oh man, expose of men's psyche. Oh, this is going to be good. They're going to
Yeah.
give all the truths about the men." No, we're under contract and under confidentiality of the men clause, not to reveal all truths about men. So unfortunately, you won't be getting all of the truth. But no, really though, we definitely want you to understand that we're here to expose the men's psyche. There will be a lot of things that you might see yourself involved in. You might say to yourself, "Oh, I know a guy just like that," and you'll start to see that this is exactly how men think. And I want you to be comfortable and know that we are not here to solve all of your problems. We're just here to let you in on how we as men think.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, with that being said, without further ado, my personal disclaimer is, uh, we are not therapists. Sean and Walter are definitely not therapists. We're friends. We're your friends. So this information is purely informative. Where we consider ourselves like a big living room. We just hang out. We have conversations that are guided by the Bible, right? That are guided by Christian principles. We're all Christians here, and by no means this is particular to any one denomination. This is for everybody, okay? Because everybody goes through some the same problems. All right. So we're here to just share. So without that, without further ado, I am gonna ask a big question. All right. Now I'm not gonna talk much tonight. I'm just gonna ask and listen because I don't know nothing about nothing. What makes a man? What makes a man? It's a broad question. Y'all could dig into it as whichever way you want.
What makes a man? You talking about the genetic makeup, or I think that
Well, we're talking in regards to the mind of a man. Like what in your perspectives or in your opinions experiences, what makes a man? Why would you guys consider yourselves men?
I think that the first thing is that a man is burdened with the responsibility of being a man. When you think about what a man is, there's a lot that goes into that. There's providing, there is being strong, having this tough exterior, and still able to show love in a certain way and be empathetic. I think that many times what you hear and what you see that comprises a man can be very different depending on where you're from, where you're located. But what makes a man is really a responsibility and a calling, and that's besides the genetic makeup of a man. It's more so about being the responsibility, being the person that is responsible for his actions, and being able to move forward and to be the example to not just to your offspring, but to everyone around you. Like being a man, it's very difficult. And if anyone says it's not, then they may not know what it is to be a man.
Yeah, and to that I'll add is this idea of being a leader is something that's kind of ingrained in manhood. You know, I'm an animal lover, and there's a lot that we can learn about animals. And in the animal kingdom, in most cases, it is the male species that is the leader, with some exceptions for those of you who are animal lovers. Hyenas, the hyena female, she's actually the leader of of their group or whatever. But anyway, the point is that to go with what Walton's saying, that pressure, because obviously not all men are leaders, that pressure to kind of take on leadership, even in a feministic world, actually puts men in a position to try to be something that he always can't be at that particular time. And speaking on behalf of my fellow men, if I may, that's a lot for men. That's a lot. When you think about the idea of going into romantic relationships, and not even romantic relationships, but all relationships in general, that kind of is a heavy burden in a lot of cases for men to bear. So I think that's where I would start to answer your question, Sarah.
Thank you very much. That's I know it's a very, like I said, it's a broad question. We could barely really skim the surface on that one tonight. Um, and you guys referred to some pressures. I heard that word come out, pressure. Now, what based on your experiences, it depends on how vulnerable y'all want to get tonight. Y'all both married, basically kind of got married within a year of each other, started your own families, got your own homes and that kind of thing. What are some pressures that you all both experience? Not even those things, right? Like y'all grew up together. What are some of the pressures of life that you guys really experience? Like, if you don't mind digging a little deep, and doing a little
Okay.
reminiscing.
I think that in relation to women, men don't really have that outlet. By us having this heavy burden, and by us having to go through this burden of being a man, it comes with a lot of secrecy, and also being able to handle a lot of pressure. Like like we don't really express ourselves the way we should, and society tells us that we can't. And with that being said, when a man goes through something, when most men go through something, they don't tell anyone. I've known Sean like basically my whole life, and when I'm going through things, like half the time Sean doesn't know. It's like as a man, they told you like you have to hold this thing in. As I'm sure women can call if they're going through something, they can call their girlfriends, and you guys can have it out, you guys can cry it out and have these conversations. But men, like we're told to hold it in and then man up, be strong and keep it moving. So this is what we've been taught, and this is the reality that we live in each and every day. And is it healthy? No. Hence the reason for a Men's Health Month. I think that we are in a place right now where we're starting to understand that it's healthy to have conversations. It's healthy to have emotions and not to be too emotional. So I think that that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. It's a lot. It's a lot for a man. But I want to know what kind of pressures y'all dealt with.
So for me personally, it was trying to really understand what it meant to be a man. And growing up in the neighborhood that I grew up in, you get different definitions. If you ask what a man is, you get different definitions. And is a man the type of doesn't mean, does manhood equate to being able to have multiple women? Does manhood mean, you always have the nicest car? And, you know, that was pretty much like the environment that I was exposed to.
Mm.
So I kind of, for me personally, I had to find myself in God, and that was a journey where he caused me to unlearn a lot of things that, a lot of cultivated tendencies that I exposed myself to. And then it goes back to some of the things that Walter said, even in the context of Christianity, we have these ideas that the man is to be a ladies' man, so to speak.
Mm.
And even as a young boy, I can identify with, people saying things like that to me. So it's already kind of molding me to have that idea that I need to have multiple women in my life to feel like a man.
Absolutely.
And
Solomon syndrome, eh?
you went there. It's
Mm.
even seen in the Bible. So man, that's one of the reasons why we're here. That's one of the reasons why we have such a broken society, and it's because we have so many broken homes.
Mm-hmm.
So again, personally, it's me finding myself. It's me being exposed to a lot of negative influences, and then also positive influences that I didn't really gravitate towards. So it's really, as a man, you really have to find yourself. It's like a jungle. And we're not saying that women don't have to have these experiences or women don't go through these things. But this, again, is a conversation about the men's psyche in the context of Men's Health Month.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the idea, if anyone is kind of like, what are they talking about? The idea is, that we can all walk away with at least a little bit of a better understanding of, how men act, how men respond, how men think, so that we can have better relationships, not just with boyfriends. It's bigger than that, with fathers, uncles, as Sarah said in the prayer. So
Okay, can I just touch on what Sean just said?
Yeah.
So this whole relationship and sexuality that Sean spoke about. When we were young, we would see women, and women would always say to us like, "Oh, how many girlfriends do you have? How many girlfriends do you have?" Because as a young handsome man, you should have a lot of girlfriends. Then as you get older, that behavior now
it's demonized.
it's shunned.
Mm-hmm.
But you raised us in this environment. And now when women want men to be, oh, I just want a man who just wants me for me and just wants to be with one person. It's like, I wasn't raised that way. And who raised me like this? The women did. The women, they coddled us from young to have all these women. And then when we get older, they say, all right, now choose one and be with that one forever. And I'm gonna be real. If you look at society now,
Watch your words,
yeah, if you look at society now, like it's weaponized. Like if women are going to get surgery. Women are wearing less and less because they want this attention. They want this intimacy. They want this attention from men. And as a man who is trying to be better and say, I want to just say, stay to myself and focus on what needs to be focused on, like a woman is now weaponized to get your attention at any means necessary. Any way, shape, or form they can get your attention, they want your attention. So men deal with so much, and even married men, and it'll be a lie for men to say, oh yeah, I'm over it. Like, oh man, I got married and all women they're no. It's like day in and day out, you see women nonstop, and it's like, and it's a sad place to be in because women will be broken because that one guy broke their heart, or the case may be, and they will still see a married man and say, you know what, I want that man. I want that man. So then the cycle continues.
Mm-hmm.
The cycle continues over and over and over and over again. So it's like we need to have these conversations because there's many people that's having in conversations and in situations like this. But at the same time, just because the man went through this and he was taught this way as a child growing up, you don't say, oh, now I understand him. Now I'm gonna let him waste my time for 4 more years. No, we're not saying coddle this behavior. We're not saying allow this thing to happen. We just want you to understand like what's going on in a man's mind so that you can make a conscious decision as what you need to do going forward. Like our job isn't to change your mind. Our job is to give you the information so that you can make the necessary decisions based upon the facts that you have.
Wow, wow. You know, just segue. They say, you know, some women, okay, not this woman here, but some women say men are totally basic, that their brains are empty. But we just started the conversation, and there's so much, there's so much to talk about. And Sean, I read your book, The Redefinition of a Man, and you.
Oh,
I,
thank you.
Thank you.
I have a few free copies. But I read your book and I understand that based on your past, you associated some sort of self-worth. You could, that's different for you now, but you associate some sort of self-worth in being in a gang, right? Growing up in Brooklyn. So why? Like, did that have something to do with your ego? Now, the overarching question would be like, where does the man's ego fit into like the bigger sphere of things? But before we go into that question, because I know Walter would want to weigh in as well, like Sean, like if you don't mind kind of bearing your soul and sharing that with us.
Yeah, so that's a really good question, and I feel like when you're kind of misguided and when you're kind of like lost, you kind of go to two different extremes. So for me, the extreme that I gravitated towards was manhood equals rough, strong, powerful. You're running the streets, and just seeing what it meant to have people having your back, it made me feel like this was something that I wanted. And again, misguided. So I go to that extreme. Like, you can be a man and be sensitive. You can be a man and cry, but nah, that's not what it means to be a man, because I need to be out here, rough. I need to be out here getting respected, and that's really and truly what I tried to be. That's fake. That's not really who I was called to be. So you bring that into your relationships now, and especially being so in love with the hip hop culture, you know, most of it is frankly perverted. You know, a lot of women are put in such a deplorable light. And I came to this conclusion many, many years ago before I was actually converted. The Lord was still working on me. And the conclusion was that if I want to be the type of man that is only going to love one woman, then I need to stop feeding my mind with music that is pushing me in the opposite direction. So stop listening to all of this filth, because by beholding, you become changed. And that's what I realized, that like what we see, what we listen to, it influences us, and it molds us and it shapes us. So if you want to be a man that respects a woman, if you want to be a man that desires to only be with one woman, then you need to be in an environment that celebrates that. And what does that look like? An example: you can't be friends with men that dog women, that sleep around with other women, because that's obviously going to influence you to also take part in that behavior. So I feel like a lot of that stuff is obvious, but that's really and truly a lot of the past, a lot of my past, and came a long way, praise God. But I think it's a relevant conversation because there's some men listening that's possibly in that same or similar
Situation.
scenario.
Hmm. Hmm. So Walter, so just veggie back off of what Sean is sharing, like how does a man's ego, right? This is for anybody, but how does a man's ego come into play or fit in when he's trying to make some serious life decisions? It doesn't even have to be serious life decisions. It could just be like everyday decisions.
I think ego plays a huge part. I say for me, when I was growing up, I used to have these friends that used to make fun of me because of how I dressed. They used to make fun of me all the time.
Which one?
I don't want to name any names, but I used to have friends that used to make fun of me because of how I dressed. and I wasn't
wait. Can I, bro? You went there. Can I?
No.
Can
I said
Listen,
no.
we want you guys
I
to
said no.
remain friends after this session.
No,
Okay?
I'm trying.
you went there.
I'm trying.
Bro, can I?
No.
They need context.
They don't need context. They need context. So Sean, I had friends used to make fun of me when I was growing up, and then like they made it seem like I wasn't getting girls because of it, right? So I had to become a chameleon. I started to watch people and see, all right, how do these guys get girls? And I said need context. So I used to watch and see how guys spoke with women, how they dressed, so on and so forth. And I saw that you need to have certain skills to master this conversation with women. And throughout my life, I started to understand, and I started to adapt these things. And I became so comfortable with these things that they kind of became part of who I am. And now I'm married, and these traits, these behaviors, I still have them because I've adapted them over decades. And now that I have them, you can't just turn it off. You can't just turn it off. Like I dress a certain way, I speak a certain way, I move a certain way, I don't slouch that much. There's a lot of things I don't do anymore because I realized that it's not visually appealing. And at the same time, I can always sugarcoat and say, oh, well, I shouldn't be slouching anyway, so on and so forth. But I did it for a reason in the past because my ego told me, look, well, you're not getting to this standard that everyone is accomplishing. You need to step your game up. You need to do things differently. And I was able to adapt nicely to these behaviors. And now it's a part of who I am. And is it a bad thing? No. But could it be a bad thing? Yes. So now my ego is telling me, well, look, you got it. Like, you just relax. You don't have to do nothing anymore. You made it. But at the same time, it's like, is this who I am? Or is this adaptive traits that allowed me to cope for what I was going through before? And now, because I can't turn it off, is it now who I am? So, ego.
Ego, in the Christian world, we call ego self. Everybody has, that bit of ego in them. And, it's interesting, that could play for our good or definitely for our bad if, we don't take responsibility of it. Now, there's a statement out there in the world that says that all that men think about is sex. All that men think about is sex. Is that true or false? Maybe. What do you guys have to say in terms of the expose of the male psyche?
So,
I'll show answer this one.
oh boy. So there's some science that would suggest that because men have more testosterone than women. And whether or not we're going to argue with that point, I solely believe that whether or not we have, like, regardless of whatever impulses we have as humans, I feel that we need to be subjected to a higher power. So even if that may be true, personally for me, it's not. I could put that out there. I think this is it's a safe space.
Brave space.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, brave space. This is a brave space, so I could put that out there. And I've even experienced that in my past life. However, I think that whenever a man has an interaction with Jesus, Jesus can help that man, and he can, change those things about that man and cause that man to see things that are divine and heavenly. So all of
So
that
is
to
it like,
say,
is it just like praying? Like, what does that man do? Like, how did you do it? Because you didn't come from, you are not the man that you are today.
Sean, how did you do it?
Like, how did you do it? Like, how did you like what did you do? Did you read the temptations away? Did you pray the temptations away? Like, how did it work for
How did you
you?
do
all right, so
Babe, I'm gonna, sorry, Sean. It's not babe
so,
today, Sean.
so
How did you do it?
so
There's water right there.
so it's one of those things where you kind of like, I said, just not too long ago, I said that even before I was converted, he had his hand in my life. So I don't think it's obvious, or is it? Anyway, I did a whole bunch of things that I shouldn't have done before I met Christ, before I embraced a relationship with Christ. And even when I was ignoring, when I was ignoring him, when I was grieving the Spirit of God, you know, God still was able to lead me to where I am today. So, like I said earlier, one of the first things that the Holy Spirit convicted me on is that I need to stop listening to this music. From there, it was like, maybe I need to stop watching some of these movies. Coming from a background where I used to watch a lot of things that I shouldn't have been watching, it started there. And then it was really and truly, you know, I hate to spiritualize it and take you to Genesis where Jacob wrestled with God, but that was really and truly my experience. That's my testimony. There were times where I was brought to tears. There was times where I prayed literally for like half an hour, pleading with God to help, to asking God to erase some of these images from my mind that I put there. You know, so I will never ever give you the impression that it was easy or that it is easy to be in a lot of addictive behaviors and be where I am today personally. It wasn't easy. It's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of work, but I sincerely believe that God can give you the victory over any sin.
Mm.
And while keeping that thought in mind, don't think that you've overcome. And what I mean by that is this:
Mm.
because of the way how the brain is made up, it is it is very possible to relapse into that behavior.
Mm.
So, you know, be careful lest you fall, right? We have to trust God. We can't trust in ourselves. You know, so all of that to say, watch the friends, the company you keep, watch the things you watch the things you watch. Be
Mm.
mindful of the things that you watch. So Sarah and I can say that we were very, very protective over our eyes. We don't watch a lot of things, a lot of the filth that's out there on Netflix or whatever have you, you know, with a lot of curse words, nudity. Like, no, that doesn't end. That by God's grace, it doesn't enter our home because we know what influence those things have on us as people. You know, so friends, things you watch, places you go. Walter and I, we used to live for a party.
Sean used to live for a party.
He used to invite me to the parties. I used to go.
Sean used to invite me. I used to go.
Whatever.
Stop it.
Speak the truth.
Lies.
Speak the truth. Speak the
Lies.
truth.
So he
Guilty.
used to
Both
be a
guilty as
dancer. He used to be
charged.
a dancer. Anyway, we're not gonna get there. But so, you know,
I appreciate that about both of y'all. You know, I always look at you guys. I'm sorry, baby. I have to say this. I saw pictures. I wasn't there for that part of your lives, but I see pictures. I hear stories every single time y'all hang out. There must be at least one story about Walter and his, I'm not gonna bust files right now.
yes, he was inviting me to the party.
I don't remember that.
And I'll always hear about y'all different little dance moves and that kind of little things. But and now today, ladies and gentlemen, I listen to my husband in the bathroom jamming out to Christian hymns, piano instrumentals. I'm like, who is this man who
Mercy.
used to go and listen to Cash Money and all these different people before?
Yeah, money, mercy.
And
So
it's just to validate, what you're talking about. There's a transformation that is not, yeah, effort comes from you, but the power comes from God. You
Absolutely.
know.
I didn't have to even have the converted mind. No shade, no judgment. But God showed me this even way back then. Party promoter, right? I'm walking. I'm trying to walk. I don't even know where I was going, to be honest. I'll be real. I don't know where I was going. I don't know what I was doing. I was just trying to live life. I was trying to be somebody. And the thought came to my mind, even back then, like, and we're talking about the party scene. We're talking about clubbing, dancing. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, why would I think it's okay to grind my private parts on another person's body? Like, let's be real. Let's really talk about that. Well, not really, but let's really understand. Not we don't have to go there.
Okay.
But the point is that that's where God brought me from. Like, bro, you're literally grinding a part of yourself on another person's body. And again, this is I'm not a Christian thinking like this. I'm like, yo, this doesn't make sense. Of course, I still went out and did it, mercy. But the point is that that's not the environment that you want to be in. Even if you're not there to dance, some women go to parties to hold up walls. Yeah, I said it, and that's old Sean talking. But even if you're not there to
Old
dance,
Sean always coming out.
then by you watching other people do ungodly things in the dark, that's why they turn the lights off. That is changing you.
Mm.
So, you know, if you want to change, I hope this is for everyone, but I understand that it won't be for everyone. Again, the idea is that you don't want to fall into sexual sin. If you don't want to fall into sexual sin, then maybe change your environment. Stop going to the clubs, listening to the music, stop hanging out with friends that only talk about sex. And that's what I would do. That's what I did. And that's why I can share about that.
Okay, can I put a different perspective to it?
Yeah.
I want everyone to know that we have to be real with ourselves. Many of us, we have addictions that we don't call it addictions. We keep saying, "Oh, I can stop whenever I want to," but can you? Like, think about it. Think about that addiction that you have. Like that thing that you do when after you finish doing it, you feel so disgusting, and then you say, "No, I'm never gonna do it again." And maybe a day or two, maybe a week, maybe a month, you go right back and do it again. It's like we have a hard time saying that, yo, I have a problem. I really have a problem with this thing. I'm really addicted to this thing. That word addicted to this thing, it's like it feels like a sickness, and no one wants to claim a sickness. Yeah, but no one wants to claim it. Like no one wants to say like, oh yeah, I'm addicted to this, because like the minute you say you're addicted, you know you need help now, and you can't get the help from yourself. You have to go outside and get the help. If you go outside and get the help, that means that someone else is going to know that you have a sickness. And I think that because we are so, especially as men, we're so used to keeping things inside and not having conversations and just like holding everything inside until we explode, like it tears us apart from the inside out. So my transformation wasn't as easy as Sean's, but a transformation does need to happen.
I never said it was easy.
No, I said not as easy. I said not as easy.
Okay.
Like it's a sad thing to be in an addictive state and have to say to yourself like, yo, man, I'm really struggling with this thing, and I can't have a conversation. I can't tell anyone about it because it's embarrassing. I have this shame. I have this remorse. I have this, and then at the same time, I still want to do it.
Mercy.
Like I still want to do it. Like let's be real. Those addictions that we have, we still want to do it. And because it's not opioids or something crazy like that, we're like, oh, well, at least I'm not like that guy over there. But it's like, it's the same thing.
Don't compare yourself.
It's the same thing. It changes your quality of life. Whatever you do that pulls you away from your quality of life, then that's an addiction. And I think that because we don't recognize these things as addiction, or we don't want to classify as an addiction, we just let it lie in the back. It becomes our little cherished sin. And then what happens is that we'll get married with this addiction, or we'll get into a relationship with this addiction, and we have this huge void that person can't fill. So now we want them to fill this void that they can't fill. So now we're not satisfied in that person, because that person can't satisfy me. Right. And really, it's not that person's job to satisfy that void that you have created. So I think that we need to be honest and like really start having conversations, find someone you can speak to. Right. Like have a conversation like, yo, this is what I'm going through. And make sure you have Christian friends, so that they can point you to God. But at the same time, like, let's understand that this thing is real. It's a tough situation. It's not one of those things you can pray away. It's not one of those things you just read a Bible text and it's gone. It's not like that. And I don't want anyone to feel that, oh yeah, you have an addiction, you pray it away and that's it. It's gonna come right back.
Right.
Because you really need God's help. And but you have to do some of the work. Like God wants co-laborers. He's not gonna tow you to success. So that's all I have to say now.
Okay. I really appreciate learning more about this and hearing this from you guys. And yes, some of us know this, some of us women know this. We and believe it or not, women deal with some of like the same addictions. If we're talking about sexual addictions, women, some of these same addictions women deal with as well. And If you know what I mean, like, yeah, you know what I mean. Um, we're running out of time, but I have this question I want to ask, but I'll kind of preface it with like a little experience that I had. So, I can't remember exactly who it was, but I was in like a situation, with a guy, obviously like back in the past, and in the past, and what was a troll, and I was talking to this guy, and he ghosted me, or he just, I won't say he ghosted me, but he seemed to be giving me a lot of energy, and then eventually he just didn't, you know go through with anything. He didn't ask me to be his girlfriend or anything, but I thought that brother man had liked me, right? um what is it? So the conclusion I came to myself was that, maybe he was just trying to be a friend, maybe he was just being friendly. Now, what goes on there in the man's mind in that kind of dynamic? We have the woman that says, well, he's texting me good morning a lot. He is saying, I hope you have a great day. How was your day? How was your week? He's telling me happy, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every single day of the week. He's asking for us to go have tea together or whatever you just do. But then he's not saying anything. Like, why is he giving me all this energy, but he's not saying anything? Now, I've heard the man side of the story where they said, well, I honestly just see her as like a really good friend. I honestly see her as a good Christian woman that, I like to have conversations with, but I don't like her like that. What on earth is going on there in a man's mind? Now, I know women are, we could be any range from very, very ordinary and healthy to absolutely insane and psychotic and toxic. We have different ranges, depending on, how much God we have in our life. But what goes on in a man's mind there? Y'all know what I mean?
So before I address the question, it sounds kind of personal. Sean, do you know about this guy? Because I want to make sure that. So no, so I think
The
that
past.
women, some women have the tendency of
Watch out now.
I'm trying. I'm trying. So I think some women have a way of creating relationships in their mind, right? I'll put it like this, right? Let's just say a guy. Let's say Steve Urkel. He texts you, "Good morning, happy Tuesday, happy Monday." You like, whatever. Well, let it be Idris Elba texting you, or Brad Pitt, or I don't know who you guys like. Michael B. Jordan starts texting you, "Good morning," and I was like, "Ooh, he likes me." It's the same text. It's the same exact text. And I think that if a man wants to court, if a man wants to have a conversation, if a man wants to pursue a woman, he would make it known. But the problem is that
You should make that known.
he will make it known. But the problem is that women love to do all the work. Women love to do all the work. They love to do all the work because you do want a man to pursue you, but if he's taking his time or he's not moving as fast as you want him to, you'll speed him up. You'll speed him up. And I think that you need to be very careful with that because maybe he's not where he needs to be at that moment to pursue you. But because you're putting him on this treadmill, you got to move faster. You got to move faster. You're going to be with me, so on and so forth. Now he's like, all right, I guess I'm obligated to move according to this pace that I'm not comfortable with. And then when he sees something he doesn't like or he's not in the mood for it anymore, like, oh, this treadmill is tiring. I'm out of here. And
So what if she's on that treadmill for like say 6 months, a year, like
so clearly she should know something
She
is
should
up.
up the speed on the treadmill.
No,
She's
not even that.
saying anything.
No, exactly. You're not saying
she
it
should
up.
end up she should stop that treadmill, press that emergency button,
Yeah,
and
that's it.
roll out.
Because think about it. Think about a treadmill. A treadmill is you're getting run, but you're not going anywhere. So if a woman is there on a treadmill with this guy and she's not getting anywhere, then why are you wasting your time? And a lot of women know they're wasting their time, but I like him so much. He's such a good guy. He suits me because they have this thing in their head where it's like, this must be the only guy there is out there for me. And it's like, if they're not gonna try and fix the man, they're gonna try to make him into what she wants him to be, or they're gonna wait forever for him to get his life right or to do what he needs to do. But they know they shouldn't be in this relationship. So Sean and I having this conversation with you isn't gonna change that. Like, you know already. Like, I don't know why you need to hear from us, but you know it already. So the question is, why are you addicted to this toxic behavior?
Mm.
I think that's what it is.
And you guys said it, toxic behavior. So basically, it is what it is. Like that type of man, he's dragging, this female along by,
Exactly.
it's called stealing affections.
And
He's getting his fix of. Yes, you go ahead. You're the male. You tell me your psyche.
and I was gonna say it's never in a woman's place to convince a man into love or into a relationship.
Absolutely
You should never feel like you have to do that.
true.
Why? For the most part, or in many cases, men have options or a lot of options. So if you're trying to convince him, then and he's not making his intentions clear, then you're not going anywhere. And that goes back to the treadmill analogy. But to answer the question, I think that the first place I'll start is that if you're a Christian man and you're converted, then you're going to be friendly with everyone. And for some women, they see that friendliness and they perceive it as this guy might be interested in me. And then for
You're
other
speaking
men,
some truth, man. Go ahead. Hmm.
who let me not say that. But anyway, for other men, they're kind of testing things out. They're trying to see or to read you to see if he's really into you. And so he's gonna send those good morning texts. And he's looking for the reciprocation because he's probably doing it with 5 other women, and the one that responds, as quickly as he would like her to, he's gonna engage with that woman more. So to be honest, it's a game. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's productive, but it's honestly a game. It's learned behavior. It goes into the conversation of the biological clock. A lot of
Ooh,
times,
I like that one.
we kind of, man, I can't even go there, but
But this all men though? This seems like this is the type of man that he has a lot of nurturing to do. He has some conversion that needs to go on there. So that's the toxic side of the male psyche, right? And women do that too. Okay, so I ain't trying to blackmail any man. What about the healthy man? What
I
does
think
that psyche do?
the healthy man is an opportunist. For all the healthy men out there, forgive me, but I'm gonna put you on blast too. Like a lot of them are opportunists. They'll be friendly with everyone, but at the same time, they have an ulterior motive. They're testing the waters to see exactly what's out there. So
Okay,
you want to
break
see
that down.
who
Like, what
bites.
does that mean? Give me a
So
scenario
so
so I can
so
see it.
so they may be single, but they're texting 50 people. But I'm just their friend. I'm single.
no, 40.
40, all right, 40. So they're texting people and like
That's
mind
why
you,
they have Facebook.
it's just a good morning. It's just a good morning. And then let's see who bites. So now you have 30 women who bite, right? And 30 women who want your attention now. So then you get to know them via text, so on and so forth. And then that number dwindles down. But then what happens to that healthy man?
What's this process of elimination?
No, the healthy man, he acquired toxic behaviors now because now he becomes a serial dater. Because now he dates one girl. Mind you, he has 20.
While keeping in mind his other options.
Exactly. So he's dating
So this is
20
a
girls.
Christian brother we talking
Oh,
about?
absolutely. Because
Christian.
yeah, but no.
Where is my tea when I need it?
No, I'm agreeing.
Yeah. So but now it's like he's dating these women now, and he's never given one a real chance. Because let's say he has 10 women, right? He has 10 women. So every woman he dates, he gives them 10% of his attention. So as he breaks them down, they might get more and more of his attention. If he has 5, they get 20% now. But then what happens now is that he'll find this girl, she's amazing, but she doesn't have a quality that this girl has. So now I want a girl that has this quality plus this
or
too.
The looks.
Or the looks, yeah. Oh, so then you
So wait. I have to ask a question about the looks.
no, because then you want to keep one up, and you want to like, all right, this is good, but I want someone better. Oh, she's great. I want to have some better. She's great. So then you always keep trying to one up. And time goes by, and all men really, forgive me, a lot of men know that all they have to do to get a good woman is to wait you out. Because the minute wait you out. The minute you start looking at that, oh, my clock is running out. Your standards went from here to now. I just want a man with teeth.
Don't go there.
What?
Like I'm telling you, like no. But it's like a lot of women, like I'm not saying all. I'm saying a lot of women, once they start thinking about that biological clock, they start thinking, oh man, I need to find a good man soon. So now your standards are starting to drop lower and lower. So now this girl went from being choosy and picky to now it's like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna choose what. So I saw a
She
quote.
went from wanting a man that prayed 3 times a day to a man that didn't
Yeah,
even pray at all. But he
as
just
long as,
looked good and he had a
he
little money.
wear a church suit, that's all
Wanted
I
a man
care.
that prayed.
So I saw
P-R-E-Y.
a quote that said it said a man marries the woman that he chooses. A woman marries who's available.
Mercy. That ain't songing right.
Because what happens is that, like, if you think about it, it's like it's a sad thought. But think about think about many women that you see who they'll have all these high standards, but as time goes on, they start to say, you know what, I just want a man who does this, and I just want a man, and then it gets lower and lower and lower.
Yeah, but we want to hear about the
in
man
the
though.
intimacy.
We want to hear about the man though. So now let me just curveball. All right, curveball, because we run out of time, and these girls have 1,000,001
Run
questions.
out of water.
And I have no water at all. So, okay, how to ask this question? They say they say that men like a certain type of look. All right, so they want a certain type of look. She has maybe long hair, light skin, small waist, big hips. Right, that's the looks there. That's a stereotype, right? That's the look that they say that men want. And but they also say that he wants her to pray and to be a good homekeeper, ambitious and whatever. What is that about? Is that true? Like, is there a certain type of look that men want? Because I know, and they say, oh, we don't have no good women, right? I know a lot.
There's a lot of good
I
women.
know a whole lot. But the
So
thing is, they struggle to find men, right? And then the woman say, there are no men. There are no men. Listen, if you guys are on this call, if any single woman is on this call tonight, and you never said that before, tell me you never said that before. But I think I hear it every week. We are going to find a good man. I was asking myself that at one point. Thank God for Facebook.
So they're gonna take this one?
Anyway, I'm just
yeah,
joking. Forget
that's
about
not a
that
question.
Facebook joke. Thank God for Jesus, right? But talk about that. What is that? Is there a look that you guys go for?
So I think some
And
of
all
that
this
goes.
smirking.
I think some of that goes back to some of the things that I shared. Like we're culturally conditioned to be. All right, let me not say that. So
Say it.
no, it's not. It's not entirely true. So my background, my experiences, I was culturally conditioned to be attracted to that. She got to have a fat butt. She got to be curvy, etc. And that's what's promoted in a lot of the media that I was exposed to. So that's one dynamic. There's also this idea that men are visual creatures, and with that being said, we like to be attracted to qualities that we don't have, and we could easily go right to the word and see that God made men and women differently, biologically, spiritually, socially, etc. So it's kind of in us to be attracted to those attributes that we obviously don't have. Now, I can't say that all men like a specific type. I can't speak on behalf of all men, but the idea of the light skin with the long hair and the straight hair, what happened to the beautiful curly hair? Like, that's a lot of men's type for whatever reason. And I think a lot of that is conditioned. That goes into the conversation of, you know, black people not really loving themselves because of things that we learned. A lot of things that society pushed on us to have us to reject ourselves, and that's a very sad situation, to the point where in a lot of countries people bleach themselves, men and women. So
Where does that come from? Like, what's behind that?
it's a toxic mentality,
Mm.
and I believe that it's
Somebody says
part of
self-hate.
yeah, we don't, they teach us not to love ourselves. We always want to look like like
Like Barbie.
yeah, you know
Sorry.
no, go
I
ahead.
never thought Barbie looked good anyway. I never
So
ever thought Barbie looked good. But
I I think that the reason why like men want these attributes now, especially like now men in the church now, is because they want a woman to satisfy their lusts and also their godly ambitions. So they want what they see on their Instagram Explore page, and they still want a woman that they can take to church and pray with, and who's going to be the mother to their kids, so on and so forth. But it's like 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10 sometimes, you won't have that. You won't have that. But I bring you to a story. Like Sean shows me quoting the Bible a lot. I'll bring you to a story in Esther, right? So when the king was drunk and he wanted his wife to come out because she was beautiful to look upon, she didn't want to come out, he got rid of her, right? But then he found Hadassah, Esther, and Esther was beautiful and she was well favored amongst all of them. The problem is that we have this conversation around why do men like this kind of woman, so on and so forth. Yeah, but if you think about it, a lot of women in the church, they're trying to be that woman that this man wants to have, and they won't be able to satisfy a man's worldly view and his lust.
You can't satisfy
So women they'll start to take on the traits of the world. They'll start wearing the same clothes and dressing up the same way that the world does, and ask themselves, oh, why can't I find a good man? Why can't I find a church man? Because he might as well go and get one from the world. It's like you're not there to appease his lust and his worldly ambitions. That's not what you're there for. So when a Proverbs 31 woman tries to be something that she's not, that's what happens. That's what happens, because now he controls you now. Now he's like, you know what? I want you to be this. I want a woman that's like this, and then you're doing all the things that he wants you to do, so on and so forth. And it's not gonna fit his mold. It will never fit his mold. And then if it does fit his mold, you have this huge upkeep now. You got to do all these things. You have this whole checklist on how to look. Mind you, we haven't even talked about behavior yet. How to look for this man. Because if you don't look this way, he might go somewhere else.
Wow.
Is that fair? But think about it. This is what you created. This is what you allowed. Just because a man wants to have a woman that satisfies lust, you don't have to be the one who satisfies his lust. So stop trying to look like the woman on his Explore page, and just be the woman that you're called to be.
Right.
And don't worry, if he doesn't like you, trust me, you're better off.
Oh yeah.
You're definitely better off.
Yes, that's actually a blessing. That's a huge blessing.
I tell you, there's something about this Explore page that have men going crazy. Like men I keep telling you, like this whole women are weaponized. Women are weaponized, and like a man sees a woman and like it kind of stuns them. They're like, wow, I didn't know women come in this shape and size. Now this is what I want. And they'll discard every other view of what they had or what they wanted, and this is what I want now. But I want her to pray 3 times a day. Who wants to go to church? What's the events? Blah 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 blah, and that's what they want.
I was watching television with my. I'm sorry, Sean. You had something to say?
I was gonna say, then you have the conversation about the implants and all of these things. When women, God created you to be beautiful, and if you have to do these things to get a man's attention, then that's the type of attention that you don't really want. That's the type of man that you don't really want.
Absolutely.
You know, so
That's a red flag.
And we participate in encouraging them to help us to alter our minds. We basically, we sometimes we look down on the woman that get the breast implants and the butt implants and the lip injections. But then what's even deeper than that, than the mind injections? Like, am I literally changing myself and my purpose, so that I could please a man? I remember it at a time in my life where I was in a relationship, right? Or relationships. And I was like, all right, let me start thinking about movements, like how I'm gonna live closer to him, or what my career path should take, so that could work out. I used to consume myself about that.
When
And
was
this was pre-Sean. And this is why you don't ever interview your husband and your best friend.
this?
But I remember talking about hypersexualization. I feel like hypersexualization is not even a word anymore. It's just like women are just, like you said, weaponized. I was watching a television with my father several years ago, and this refrigerator ad came on, right? And there's a fridge. They're trying to sell a fridge, and they have this woman. She's coming down, and she's in her negligee, and she's like, walking, and she's basically making love to this fridge in a sense.
how long ago was that?
several years ago.
You just saw a commercial with, what is it, for a dishwasher, and they're
Yeah,
sexualizing the commercial,
yeah,
That's
like
what you put
every
in the
little
dishwasher.
thing.
right?
Yeah, and
So
it's so it and it's disgusting. It's crass, you know. And so yeah, it is definitely out there, and I'll, it's so real. Like we really, literally, and this is probably, I know. But today I see even some of my sisters in Christ. We see they used to dress like a certain way. You used to see the stamp of just like purity in the way in which they dressed. God knows their mind. I don't know what's going on in their minds. And then now, as the time progresses, and unfortunately sometimes it as success progresses, they get more educated, they get more what I don't know, like God bless them with certain possessions and stuff like that. I see, the way in which they dress start looking more like not what God says, we should represent, and it just comes down to the point of like, why why do we, what is that influence there, where is that coming from, you know um and I have to say that it's corrupt, it's sin. We are corrupted, by sin, and the devil is telling us, look to the world for success in your relationships, look to the world and look to them, because they look like they have it together. They have this saying that the grass seems green on the other side. It's not. So not all that glitters is gold. We are out of time. It's 9:08, and we still have people jumping in as we speak, but maybe if you guys are available, I'm gonna have to ask you guys, because I know you're all busy, y'all have wives and all of that. So I'm gonna see if you guys have time for part two. But I don't know, do you guys have a time for a couple questions, just two questions?
A bunch of men are calling my phone like I know what's going on. The men are calling my phone like,
Oh, they're gonna be
he's like,
mad at you
oh,
all after.
too many secrets. So yeah, so we have time for some questions, right?
We have time for two
maybe
questions.
maybe one.
I see two hands.
Okay, so I see two hands, but I wanna take one female and one male. So I will take Stephanie's question, and if no man raises their hand within the next 30 seconds with a question, not a
5
comment, a
seconds.
question, 5 seconds, okay, 5 seconds, then I will take Candace's hand.
Candace has it.
All right. Okay, so I see we have Stephanie and we have Jeremy. Please, no comments. We don't want any comments because we don't have time for it. We don't want to hear your opinion. We want a question. Sorry to be so blunt. All right, Stephanie, go ahead with your question, my dear. And please keep your
Okay,
questions brief.
I'll try. Okay, going back to earlier in the session, during the time that you guys, well, either if you were going through the process of becoming more Christ-like, right? You were still influenced by those un-Christ-like behaviors. When you experienced your disappointments, did those disappointments influence you to go back and do some of the things that you were accustomed doing before you became a Christian? And how did you navigate the process when you messed up?
Yeah, definitely. And for those who maybe don't understand the question, if I understand the question, I think what Steffi's asking is, you did things you weren't supposed to do, and you went back into those behaviors. Why? And did you expect to be disappointed? Right? Is that what you're asking?
No. Nope, that's not what I'm asking. Okay, so before you became Christ-like, you engaged in behaviors that was worldly, right?
Mhm.
As you go through life, you experience disappointments. So while you were on that road to becoming more Christ-like, I'm sure you encountered disappointments. Did any of those disappointments that you faced influence you to go back into your worldly behavior? And if they did, how did you navigate cleaning it up when you messed up? Is that clear?
That's what I thought I understood.
Okay.
So yes, definitely. And it reminds me of a verse in the Bible, and it says, a dog returns to his own vomit, and so a fool to his own folly. And that definitely was me, because it's kind of like just because you had an encounter with Christ obviously doesn't mean that you won't revert back to old behaviors. So you have a past and you're trying to become more like Christ, and you have expectations now. And maybe the church gave you these expectations. Maybe you have presuppositions about the Bible or whatever the case may be. And you're like, yo, I know Jesus now. I'm all set. I'm not gonna have any issues. Issue happens, and you're like, God, what happened? Why me? Why does good things happen to bad people? And you're like, you know what? Forget this Christianity thing. I had more fun when I was in a club. At least in a club, or how about this? In the church, man, mercy. In the club, I got more love than I got when I was in the church. So I'm gonna go back to the club. And you realize, or I realized that feeling, that sensation, that pleasure that you get living an ungodly life is fleeting. It's deceptive. You always want to, it's like you always want, you always want more. So you have to really and truly know what you want. And that's why reading the Bible, understanding God's word, internalizing his word is so important, because what he wants to do is change this, right? The Bible, it says that spiritual things are spiritually discerned. We don't even know what we want. We don't even know what's good for us. None of us know what's good for us. God knows what's good for us. Mm-hmm. So until we have this transformation of our hearts, we can't even, discern right from wrong. So the Holy Spirit has an active role in helping us to get to that place where we can say, all right, I'm not going to go back to my own vomit. I'm going to keep pressing forward to things that really help me to live a fulfilling life.
Okay, can I add to that? Mm-hmm. Can I just add something real small to that?
Mm-hmm.
I saw an interview with this guy, Derek Jackson. He was a relationship coach, and then he cheated on his wife, and then he had the audacity to say, I can't believe God allowed this to happen to me, or God made me do this, something like that. And at first I said to him, I was like, what kind of foolishness is this? But then I started to think back at all the times that I was in my addiction, and God brought me out. But then you have to choose to go back in. You yourself have to choose to go back in. So then I will go back in, and I'll feel so bad, like, oh man, I can't believe this happened. And then like you kind of blame God for it, but you don't say those words, but you kind of blame God, like, oh man, I can't believe that this happened again. It's like I thought God gave me more strength in this, but it's like you're doing the exact same thing that he did. The only thing, he verbalized it. So when I heard him say that, I was like, wait a minute. There's many times where I thought that, but never verbalized it, because saying it out loud would make it sound more foolish than it really is. But many of us, we do the exact same thing. We put ourselves in a situation that we shouldn't be in, and then we blame God, like, oh God, how can you let this happen? How can you let this man come and ruin my life like this? Girl, you chose him. God been shooting nothing but red flags and telling you, sending everyone to tell you to stay away from this man. But you yourself been choosing to follow him, and now you're in a bad situation and you're stuck. You're like, God, how can you do this to me? You put yourself through.
Mercy. So those are, thanks so much. Thank you so much for sharing those. We have a question here that was sent to my phone personally. And I want to ask this question because it's very, very.
Did that help? Stephanie, did that help?
Stephanie, did that help?
Yeah, you guys answered one part of it, but again, I asked, the second part of it is, what did you guys do to take the steps to get back on track? Did you pray? Did you fast? Did you have an accountability partner? Like, how did you navigate when you messed up multiple times? Like, what did you do? Name one step.
I chose. You have to and it might sound as simple as that, but it's as simple and as hard as that. You have to really choose. You know what? Like God has brought me out of this. I'm not going to do it again. I'm not. And it might sound like, oh, that's an easy fix. Yeah, don't do it anymore. That's easy. Yeah, but it all boils down to choice. Like, because you have to choose to go there. If it's about being somewhere you shouldn't be, you have to choose to go in that direction. If it's about being with someone, you have to choose to go. If it's about lusting or being in your explore page or masturbation or porno, you have to go to the link, buy the DVD. There's a lot of steps that go into it, and along that step, you can stop at any time. You can stop at any time, but you have to choose. It always boils down to choice. So I think that's the main focus. You have to choose to say, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore, and then from there, you make the necessary decisions to ensure that doesn't happen again.
And just to add to that, like anything that pertains to sin and unrighteousness, the devil plays on the pleasure centers of our brain versus the reasoning centers of our brain. And God, he trusts us, right? When I say he trusts us, he gives us the ability to be trusted. So he works on the reasoning and rationalization aspects of our brains. So look at the difference there. One works on impulse, one works on reason. When you're in a relationship, you don't want your husband loving you off of impulse, and saying, you know what, I'm saying I love you today because I feel it. You want your husband to tell you I love you because it's his choice, and he does from the bottom of his heart. Now, I have a question. We have to end.
I just want to add to that. So
I'm giving you 10 seconds, sweetheart.
Even before we get to that point of choice, we have to, there's a saying that says that an apology. So we manipulate God. So God has to show us how evil sin is before we even make that choice. We have to see that we hurt the heart of Jesus when we go back into those sins. And only God can bring us to that point where we can say, wow, this is evil. And as a result, I don't want to manipulate God. I need to change my behavior.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if we have time for this last question. We could start it, and then next week, if we continue, we can finish. All right. So the question is, no, this is a heavy question. So please don't finish it today. Let's just make an opening statement. All right. Just an opening statement. Because I know both of uno. It says men are often thought to be emotionally unavailable. Okay. Is this true? And what conditions must be presented for men to be willing to open up and build relationships? Now, when we say relationships, we're not just talking about between husband and a wife, girlfriend, boyfriend kind of thing, but in general. So let's target the first statement. Men are often thought to be emotionally unavailable. Can I just get, an opening statement from y'all about that?
I'll start off.
And we have to end in 5 minutes.
Men are thought to be emotionally unavailable, and we're gonna get into that next week. Good night. I'm serious though.
Oh, is that heavy?
We can't speak about that in less than 5 minutes.
I appreciate that, baby.
I appreciate the question, whoever asked you that question. But we have a time constraint.
Is it, but and tell me this, true or false? Just answer true or false, or maybe.
It says men are thought to be, so that's true. So that's somebody's experience.
No, but do you think that's a true statement or a false statement?
Yeah, it's a perception. Men are thought to be emotional, and we spoke about some of it. Men are conditioned to keep things in. Men are conditioned to not necessarily want to share. It may be ego. It may be, the way how this young man was brought up. But that's just that. Oh, it's also the way in comparison to women, the way the man's mind is made up. Women are more socially available and they're more socially supportive. Men like to feel like, nah, I got this. I'm a man, I got this.
I think at the same time, the question is a little relative, because emotionally available. If a man is closed off, he's available. He's just closed off. Like there is an emotion with that. So I think that it's necessarily how emotionally unavailable, or what emotion is unavailable, I should be asking. Because when you say are men are usually thought to be emotionally unavailable, what does it mean to be emotionally unavailable first? And then what does it mean that he's emotionally unavailable? Because everything kind of ties into an emotion. Even someone not wanting to deal with you, that's an emotion.
Mhm.
So I just need to understand exactly like which perspective are we taking
You
this
know,
on?
that what you're saying is so deep because it's making me think, like, why are you asking that? Are you trying to evoke a certain type of emotional response from that man?
Absolutely. So
Right?
then,
So you
so
trying to get
who's
loved.
the manipulator now?
All right.
Yeah. So the
Mercy.
player
Oh,
get
I'm
played.
not saying that whoever asks the question is manipulating. That's not what I'm saying.
No,
Yeah,
but
I know this is a brave
it's a
space.
type of
This
mind
guy.
game that women don't real.
Hello.
Yeah, it's a type of mind game that women don't realize that we go through. Like we're saying, that man is emotionally unavailable. He's probably emotionally unavailable to you because the Lord didn't put it in his heart.
Hey
Or
now, Sarah,
But what if it's your husband?
shut
What if it's
up.
your husband? Let's talk about that next week.
well, then yeah, you gotta analyze. You know, we're talking about different.
You see, we can't
Anyway,
go.
That's
anyway,
that's
We
next week,
can't
next
go
week,
into
next
this
week, next
hot
week.
note here.
that's
Like
why I
I
said
said
now
opening
it's like
statement,
now
opening statement.
it's really starting to get hot in here. Like there's a lot of heat coming from
Look,
Sean.
go put on AC.
I'm about to drink his
All right.
water.
that's why
All right, so we
then
it is done. It's done. The tea is done. Speaking of tea being done, we're finished for tonight, right? So we have a lot to talk about. Some of you guys had questions. I'm apologizing. I'm not able to take your questions tonight because I know how this is gonna get. Next week, by God's grace, we could. No, I didn't forget about Jeremy's question. I didn't forget about Candace's question. We don't have time for it tonight. I sincerely apologize. And we could take it next week. So come back next week. Bring your tea and come ready. All right. So Walter and Sean, I want to say thank you very much, for gracing us with your graciousness at tea time. You know, it was a pleasure, hearing from you guys. You guys are so fitted for this. We have our conversations amongst the four of us: Walt, Nat, Sean, myself. Natalie is Walter's wife, and we have a great time with these conversations. So it's nice to have you guys here to share that with us. And thank you very much. Ladies, if you guys were blessed, if you guys learned something about the male psyche tonight, or some things were confirmed, or some things were stimulated, please put some sort of emoji on the screen, like a thumbs up or something to indicate that, and brothers, for the brothers who are here, if some of these things are actually, you could relate to some of these things that, we're speaking about, put a 100, put some sort of emoji on the screen so we can see as well. All right, I just see one guy had one thumbs up. All right, so let's say a word of prayer. And okay, we see a next reaction here from our brother. I like seeing it because you know we want the men to represent in terms of what they think as well. So God be praised. All right, let's hear what a prayer. Uh, my dear sweetheart husband, can you pray us out, please?
let's pray. Dear
Yeah.
Father in heaven, Lord, thank you so much for this opportunity where we can talk about relevant matters. Lord, we know that we really don't know. We don't know. And we ask, Father, for your spirit to guide us and lead us into all truth. We ask for a special healing over the mind of men, as this is Men's Health Month. We also ask for a blessing and a healing over women. Father, we're all broken emotionally, some financially, some physically, and all spiritually. We need to be connected with Christ. So, Lord, please help us to see that He is our heavenly helper, He is our healer, He is our all in all. Father, if we would embrace this beautiful relationship with Christ that we need to have, we will see more and even greater success in our relationships and our interactions with each other. So, Father, help that to be our desire. We ask for your blessing. We thank you in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
so for those of you guys who said, you missed the recording, you wanna, watch this again, Um, every week is the same thing. I keep promising y'all I'm gonna upload these videos, and I'm gonna try. All right, I'm gonna ask my team to help me with this. All right, so we can get this done. But it'll be available on our YouTube channel eventually. So our YouTube channel is called A Foretaste of Heaven. All right, look us up on YouTube, A Foretaste of Heaven. Look us up on Instagram. We are A Foretaste of Heaven. Sean, I don't know if you could just type it in the chat so they can see it. Look us up on our website, foretasteofheaven.com. And for men, some of you guys probably already know about the cave. But if you would like to learn more about the cave, send us a message on our Instagram or on our WhatsApp or something like that. But that's it for us for tonight, guys. It's late. We went over 28 minutes, but God be praised. So God bless all of you all. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. It's a really good night's rest. Thanks for joining us and for having tea with us. God bless. Take care. Bye. Have a good day, Sarah. I know it's Saturday for you. Okay, bye bye.